Growing up, I used to draw comic strips of how I was going to kill my uncle. I was a pretty rotten child. Not like spoiled, but my sister and I, we were pretty hyper, very, very playful. My poor parents probably just had zero patience in raising us. I get to experience that all myself, but it was just kind of this running joke slash connection that I had with my favorite uncle. I think everyone has an eccentric, crazy uncle that they love dearly, and my uncle Buddha was what we called him, was that guy. Big tall guy, never wore shoes, smoked a ton, never married, didn't have his own kids, but he was really, really good with children and animals. He liked to plant vegetables and stuff like that. He was just really good out in the garden. I remember giving him this picture. He laughed so hard. He was totally tickled by it. From then on, he folded up that piece of paper and he always had it with him. People put pictures of their children in their wallet. He had this piece of paper of all the different ways that I planned on killing him. So why the hell am I telling you this story about my uncle? Well, because of this book right here. I was organizing my bookshelf and I came across this beautiful old book. It's banged up, it smells old, it's coming apart. I don't even know where I got this, but Rich Man, Poor Man by Irwin Shaw. I have not read any of Shaw's other work. The Young Lions has been on my TBR forever, so I just need to sit down and read it already. This book is a little more special to me because my dad had been telling me for years to sit down and read this book because the family that this story focuses on reminds him so much of our family, the Gibbons family. One of the children in particular, Tommy, reminds my dad of his brother Billy, my uncle Buddha. High school, college, didn't do a lot of reading. Between assigned reading, projects, exams, social distractions, everything that comes along with going away to college, I just didn't make time for reading. After college, I did finally sit down and give this a read, and it was such a beautiful story. It follows a German immigrant family, the Jordache family. Axel and Mary are the parents, and then there's three children, Gretchen, Rudolph, and Tommy. Gretchen has kind of these big dreams. She wants to be more worldly and experienced. Rudolph is kind of the model middle child. He is responsible, golden boy. And then there's Tommy, the youngest, who's a rebel, a troublemaker, always getting into fights, quick temper. Shaw spends a good portion of the first part of the story introducing us to the Jordache family blood, I guess, in a way. And my dad used to tell me that the Gibbons blood, which is, my dad's side of the family, was poison, bad blood. We're gutter Irish, and he saw a lot of parallels between the Jordache family and the Gibbons family. It's such a good family saga. It really hones in on this bitterness and resentment between the parents, Mary and Axel, and how their negative outlook on the world and each other kind of poisons the children's view of each other and the world as well, and how that influences their experiences later in life. So follows the children. I think Rudolph is in grade school when this story begins, 1945, and it follows them for a couple of decades until they're well into their adult years. They experience everything. There are family scandals with Gretchen being involved with an older man. Rudolph is fantasizing about his French teacher, and she finds out about it, and there's this whole scene with her and his father. And then there's just Tommy, always getting into fights, doing things he shouldn't be doing, has a chip on his shoulder, always getting himself into trouble. Later in life, he gets into boxing, gets involved with the mob, gets in trouble with that, but he does eventually find happiness. The others, Gretchen and Rudolph, they kind of go through marriages, children, tragedies. Rudolph becomes a politician at some point, so they experience a whole gambit of different things. The only one that really truly finds happiness is Tommy, the least likely one as a child. The ending ends up being pretty bittersweet. It's kind of a tragic ending. It's such a good story. I will say this was written in the 60s. So there was a lot of discrimination against different demographics of people. So that's something to be aware of when reading this. It does truly represent a snapshot of the world at that point in time. It's not one that I really hear about anywhere, but I know that it was super popular at some point in time because there was a television miniseries. I think pieces of this appeared in Playboy magazine decades and decades ago. So I know it was popular at some point, but it's just one, like I said, I don't really hear about it anymore. I just wanted to share that story with you about why this book is kind of special to me and my family. And it's about 600 pages, but it's a quick 600 pages. It doesn't take a long time at all to get through. I think the writing is really easy. Yeah, I can't recommend the story of the Jordache family enough. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, and catch you later.